My name is Dr. Karim Ellis. I am known as the #1 breakthrough strategist. I've been blessed to be in the industry of speaking, teaching, training, and coaching literally for 2 decades. I can't believe I'm saying it, but it's been 2 decades at this point in time. We've spoken at organizations such as Honda, Ford Motor Company, United States Postal Service, United States military. It's been a bevy at this point in time. And so we're blessed to do this. We run a 6-figure business at this point in time. And we help individuals understand how to unlock the 2.0 version of themselves. You know, when they talk about the concept of breakthrough literally is the ability to learn new information and have access to new arenas. And so as a breakthrough strategist, I've been blessed to be able to do that for some of the biggest organizations inside the country as well as outside the country. Now, how I got started doing this as an entrepreneur, that's kind of funny. I'm a strong believer that in order to be super successful, you need education, which is fine. I will never take anything away from that. But you also have to understand your God-given gift and talent. You heard me correctly. I said your God-given gift and talent. I'm a firm believer that everyone under the sound of my voice has been put here with some sort of gift, some sort of talent, something you do exceptionally well. And your job is to identify that gift, master that gift, place that gift in the right environment because your gifts and talents are not designed to operate everywhere. And then most importantly, learn how to control that gift. So as a child growing up, I had 3 gifts I operated out of on a regular basis. Number 1, it was the gift of communication. As you can tell, I'm a talker. And as a child growing up, I was the kid that got in trouble literally for talking too much. And I'm a smart kid. I actually skipped a grade. I went from kindergarten to 2nd grade. So I was always one of the brightest. I was always one of the smartest. But I had a discipline problem where I could not control my mouth. And that oftentimes got me in trouble, missing recess, especially on report cards. So I had the teacher literally, move me from chair to chair 4 to 5 times a quarter. And no matter who she put me next to, I would find a way to make friends and disrupt the class. So number 1, at the gift of communication. Number 2, because I skipped the grade, I learned that I learn and master stuff very, very quickly. So I call it fast learning implementation, which means that I can study a topic very, very quickly and master it like I've been doing it literally for years. And then last but not least, I was super creative. I always learned how to think outside the box. I think the one thing most grown adults forget to do is access the world of imagination. Everything you're sitting on right now, everything in the room that you're sitting in right now was created and designed by somebody else's sanctified imagination. So it was with those 3 different gifts and talents, which is what allowed me to run at 70-mile-per-hour speed. And when I say 70-mile-per-hour speed, I mean, just like a cheetah. A cheetah's gift is 70-mile-per-hour speed. I've never seen a cheetah confused about its gift of speed. And so for me, I had to learn, what do I do exceptionally well? And most importantly, how do I put that in the right arena that's going to not only let me dominate amongst my competition, but make me an alpha in life's race? 2 challenges that defined me literally had to be discovering my purpose and then understanding the resources utilized to pull the purpose off. Back when I was 26 years old, like most individuals, you meet someone, you fall in love. And unfortunately for me, I put off going to school against my parents' wishes. They had desires for this brilliant child of theirs to go off to college and get a degree at an early age. I fell in love and decided to settle down. And unfortunately, like a lot of early relationships, they did not work out. And I found myself literally homeless for about a good 90 days. I was sleeping out of my car for some days. Some days I would sneak up to my job after hours and I was actually sleeping in the job and hoping that I didn't get caught. My boss would walk in at 5 o'clock in the morning, not knowing that at 4 o'clock in the morning, I went into the restroom and washed myself up and got all the sleep out my eye. He'd say, "Ellis, that's what I like about you. You got gusto. You're always the first to arrive." And I'm like, he has no idea I've been sleeping here all night. Right? And so that led to a massive depression. In other words, for me personally, because I lost everything that I thought I held so near and dear, I found myself moving back home to my parents' house at the age of 26. They had no room for me, so I was literally sleeping on the couch. All my belongings were slapped up against the wall. And every day I looked at the failure of my life compared to all my peers who graduated with me. I felt less and less of a reason to want to be around. And it got to a point where I ballooned about good 30, 40 pounds overweight. The finances were in disarray. In depression, I got fired from that job. And so I owed everybody money. I was hiding from my own cell phone to avoid the bill collectors. The car got repossessed. And at the lowest moment, I actually considered committing suicide and taking my life. I couldn't see value on why I was here. If everything I was working so hard to build would keep falling apart, why in the world do I want to stick around? I had one of the most vivid dreams that I could possibly ever imagine. I was actually at the site of my own funeral, which is odd because two things ran through my mind. Number one, I got to check the casket right to make sure they buried a brother and made sure a brother looked fly, because they tell me whatever you die in, that's your death suit. I want to be up in heaven looking good, right? But then number two, I have to take a look and see who all was in the church with me, because there's some people that better be at my funeral when I'm not here, right? And so all the normal suspects were there. All the normal family members were there. However, there's a bunch of people that I had never seen before. And so I was confused in conversation, talking with God, saying, well, who are all these people? And then when I went outside the church in this dream, I saw the parking lot was full of cars and people were fighting to get into, parking spaces, and people were honking horns and getting angry at each other. And again, I'm confused trying to figure out who are all these people. And then it got brought to my attention. These are all the people you're going to get a chance to affect and benefit while you're here on the planet. It was at that moment I understood my purpose. See, one of the biggest problems I see with a lot of us, especially in the entrepreneurial sphere, we confuse entrepreneurship with making money. Believe this, you're here for more than just making money. Money is a byproduct of walking out the very thing you've been uniquely qualified and designed to do. You have to figure out your purpose. When you figure that out, you never get tired of it. You never get angry and upset about it. You never want to walk away from it. You are married to it to the hilt, and you'll say vows that you will never depart it. Through good times and bad times, you're going to be there, and you're going to rock with it all the way until it's time for you to officially leave this planet. So number one, I got good at figuring out my purpose. And then the second thing I did was I figured out what resources do I need to pull the purpose off with. The problem being is a lot of times I got to be leery that resources come and resources go. So resources could be that mentor, that coach that you have. Resources could be the money that you're sitting on right now, or that income tax return from my startup entrepreneurs is not sure what to do with it. Resources could be the education that you're being blessed with that's going to help you get this business off the ground. But the goal is not to be attached to the resource. For me in my life is to be attached to the source that provides the resource, which in my world is God. So as long as I'm connected to source, because you can't spell resource without the word source, you'll always be super successful. But I would say the two defining moments for me was getting clear on my purpose. So I'm not chasing everybody else's goals and dreams. And then number two, staying connected to source, which opens up the gateway for all the resources I'm going to need to make this goal and dream a reality. What are the lessons I've learned on this 2-decade-long journey? Wow. There's been so many lessons. I mean, honestly, it's hard to condense it in the time frame that I have with you. But if I had to give you 3 plus a bonus, number one, I would say be clear about the vision. Everything starts with vision. So I firmly believe your life works like a GPS. You have to be clear about what address you put inside your life's GPS every single day you wake up. For the first 26 years of my life, I was spending my best resources, my time, my education, my wisdom. And because I didn't put an address in my own GPS, my own vision, I was spending my resources chasing everybody else's, right? So number one, I want to be clear about the vision, meaning what am I here to do? Once I got that cleared up, then I want to figure out number two, what's the strategy I'm going to use to make it to my finish line? In 2 decades, I've created maybe 4 to 5 different businesses. Everyone has been an escalation or a scale up that open up the gateway, the doorway for the next great entrepreneurial venture. So I would say strategy. Think about your life almost like a football game and you're on offense. You understand that when the offensive line goes into the huddle between downs, they're not in the huddle because they want to check and see if everybody's wearing Axe deodorant body spray. Right? They want to make sure that people, does your breath smell good? The reason why they're in the huddle is because they're trying to figure out what strategy can we implement that's going to move the ball a minimum of 10 yards up the field. That's it, just 10 yards. If we can get it 10 yards up the field, then we get a first down, which keeps the ball in play. So I see a lot of people, they make the classic mistake of trying to throw the long bomb pass all the way in the end zone every time they get up. And when it doesn't connect, they get frustrated. I had to figure out what can I do that's going to move my entrepreneurial venture literally 10 yards up the field each and every single day, literally each and every single day. What do I do that moves me 10 yards up the field? Should I work on marketing? Should I work on connections? Should I work on branding? Should I work on speaking engagements? Should I work on connections with folks inside different organizations? What do I need to do that's going to literally move me just 10 yards up the field so I can get within striking distance of the end zone, which calculates into a touchdown? So I would say vision, strategy, and the last thing I got is the power of mentorship. The only shortcut you have in business, and I promise you this, I don't care what anybody tells you, the only shortcut you have in business is a great mentor. Why? Because a mentor is someone who's been there, done that. They've run the route. They've done the plays. They got the victories. But more importantly than the victories, they got the setbacks, the challenges, and the defeats, which is what you really learn from. right? And they're able to convey their boatload of information to you in a fraction of the time. In other words, I don't want to spend 40 years in the wilderness trying to figure out how to get my business off the ground. If I can find someone who's already been there, done that, and got the victories, got the defeats, and they can pour into my cup and show me how to get there quicker and faster and minimize my headache, then I always want to focus on finding the right mentor. So I would say vision, I would say strategy, I would say mentorship. And if I want to throw a bonus in there, always remember that money is a reward for solving a problem. That means as an entrepreneur, my job is to solve not every problem, but I want to solve the right problem. Whenever I walk into a doctor's office and I'm hurting and I got symptoms, I'm in pain, the doctor doesn't just write me a prescription and send me on the way. What the doctor does is the doctor pays attention to the symptoms I'm having. The doctor say, what brings you in? I give them the symptoms, and based on the symptom, the doctor will write a prescription that takes care of the root problem that everything is attached to. Your job in entrepreneurship is to be that doctor. So when people come to you and they have symptoms, whether the symptoms are my business is not growing the right way, or my finances are a flutter, or my relationship isn't working out, your job is to identify the symptoms, attribute the symptoms to a root problem, and then write them a prescription that's going to change your life. And if you can figure that out, people will pay you handsomely for it.
It's a great day. My name is Shay Brown. I just want to speak to you, the speaker, or maybe not even a speaker, right? Maybe you're not a speaker, but you have a message inside of you that you want to release, or maybe you have a story, right? A story of your life, a story in your career, or maybe as you're listening right now, you're an expert, right? You're an expert at teaching people how to do something. You're an expert at raising kids. And I want you to imagine for a moment that you had an opportunity to share your message or your story on a bigger stage. And I'm going to talk about that in a moment and what that would mean for you if you could reach your target audience. If you're an entrepreneur, if that target audience got associated to the problem that you solve, or if you're a super entrepreneur with sales funnels out there, not only did they get associated to who you were, but they were able to join your list. Now, for other folks, that won't make no sense at all. But for you, the entrepreneur, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I want to invite you over to something called the Comeback Champion Summit. And the whole purpose of the Comeback Champion Summit is really to do one thing, which is one word, and that is possibilities. That's right. When you get a chance to get on stage, you get a chance to do it virtually, and some of you maybe in person, and you get a chance to share your story. So something deep inside of you. I always say your message, because some of you have a message or your expertise. Then guess what happens? 3 things happen. Number 1, you get to make a difference. And isn't that why you are on this earth? I mean, I don't want to get emotional here, but you're really on this earth to make a difference for someone else. Something has happened to you so it can go through you to someone else. And being able to speak on a platform that provides an audience, it's like having a microphone that allows you to help more people faster. So that's number 1. Number 2, when you're on a platform, I'm going to invite you to the Comeback Champion Summit, you get a chance to have more meaning in the world, to have more impact, and to have more influence. And that's really who we're looking for. We're looking for folks out there who have an interest, want, or desire of serving others. So if that's you, I'm going to invite you to go over to www.comebackchampionsummit.com. Again, comebackchampionsummit.com. Click the button. It'll say apply to speak. Go through the process. And if it's a good fit, can't wait to share your story over at the Comeback Champion Summit or any one of our platforms that serves other folks. With that being said, my name, by the way, is Shay Brown, the Happy Entrepreneur. Make it a great day, everyone, and we'll make some good things happen. We connect again real soon. See you out.
If I had to have a conversation with my 21-year-old self, wow. I think one of the main lessons I would say is select your friends very, very carefully. And when I say select, I mean get clear about the vision of where you want to go and hang around people by design versus default. I grew up in a household where, we were a little bit sheltered. Like most products of the 80s, parents really paid attention to who their kids hung out with on a regular basis. And my generation was no different. My family is no different, where my mother would let you come over to my house and play if she knew your parents and she knew your upbringing. And I don't think I'm a stranger by saying that. And I would have times where mom would say, you can't hang with him because he cusses, he's a bad element, he's a bad apple. And her fear was who you hang with is who you become. And I think a lot of us are that way now. Most of us as parents, I know as a parent of a beautiful daughter myself, we grew up that same exact way. Hey, that girl you hanging with, her skirt is way too short. You can't go hang with her. You can wave to her at school, but she can't be hanging out with you. So the problem with that is I do agree with that law that you become who you hang with. But if it works in the negative sense, we also have to understand that law also works in the positive. In other words, I spent my time hanging around a lot of people from the 9-to-5 arena, and all they hit was 9-to-5 mindset, 9-to-5 dream, and 9-to-5 goals. They didn't want for much. They just wanted to create an area of comfort. They want to create an atmosphere of comfortability. Where to be an entrepreneur, it takes a little bit of a stretch of your imagination to really go after the things that you want on a regular, everyday basis. And so when I got my journey officially started, my journey started in real estate, believe it or not. And I started hanging around folks from my local real estate investors club. And so the more I hung out with them and then went back to my 9-to-5 life with folks that were just like me, where we were struggling, robbing from Peter to pay Paul to get the bills paid, and looking at home ownership and thinking, man, that's such a far-fetched dream. And I'm comfortable in the 1-bedroom efficiency apartment. You know, the efficiency where you can sit on the sofa and wave to the person in the bathroom, sitting on the toilet while cooking a meal in the kitchen all at the same time in that little small apartment. I was hanging around folks that had mindsets like that where they were comfortable. So the more I hung around people that was learning how to get money outside the traditional box, the more I desired to be the same exact thing. So I believe that you can live your life by design. You can live your life by default. Think about it by any piece of technology that you get, especially like an Apple product or something like that. Like if I got a brand new iPad, if I got that iPad for the purposes of my speaking business or even the real estate business I have, then I'm required to go on there and actually download certain applications. It's going to make the iPad useful for what it is I want. That means that iPad was delivered to me when I paid for it on default settings. It's my job to be clear about the vision of what I want to use this product for. And once I have clarity, then I can go out there and download what I need to actually design it versus use it for default settings. I think our best lives work the same exact way. So if I had to go back in time and have a conversation with my 21-year-old self, I would say Dr. Karim Ellis, not to tell myself that at an early age, because I think that how you address yourself is how you see yourself. You can't outperform what you think about yourself. So I would clearly say, live your life by design versus default. Be super selective over who you hang with. Get clear about the vision. And then release, let go, fire anyone or anything that's contradictory to that, because your best level of thinking is based on who you surround yourself with on an everyday basis. Wow, so what's next for me? Man, that's a loaded question, right? So right now we're working on a sequel book to our best-selling book called GPS, My Success. The address always determines your destination, so we're working on that sequel to release. We got a couple international events popping up here. We're going to be going out to Dubai in the next couple months. We'll be going out to Africa as well. We'll continue to crush stages here nationally with some of the biggest corporations and organizations this world has to offer. But I also believe there's a very needed problem that we have the solution to, and that's helping to assist and grow other speakers in the speaking community and speaking industry. I've run into so many folks that have the gift of communication, much like I did growing up. But the problem is they don't understand how to master that skill set and use that skill set correctly. There's so many people that's focused on being great storytellers, but I tell people all the time that, people don't pay you for your stories unless you're working at a daycare and putting 5-year-olds to sleep. People pay you for your expertise. And so what we'll end up doing is we'll continue our GPS Speakers Academy. We'll continue to push out and create some of the biggest and the brightest speakers on the planet. And they'll go out there as what I call GPS speaking assassins, where they assassinate the industry by changing the world for the better. And we'll continue to do that. I think that there are so many folks out there that have a message or a story that they can change lives with, but it's got to be anchored to the right expertise, meaning what is it that you do exceptionally well, and can you teach that skill set to other people so they can have the same dynamic results that you've experienced in your own life or your own business. So we'll continue to do that. And with any luck along the way, when it comes time for us to leave this line of work, we'll have that giant funeral that we talked about early on at the beginning. We'll have that one where it's so packed and sold out that people will pay homage to you as you leave this world for the better. Why do people work with me? Well, that's a two-part question I want to answer as succinctly as I can. For the organizations across the country that's brought me in, most of those organizations are dealing with some sort of challenge or some sort of problem. Maybe it's, a leadership issue. It might be lack of effective communication between departments. I mean, there's so many different things that transpire in this day and age, especially since the COVID 2020 fallout. A lot of organizations are trying to achieve 2023 goals and dreams, but they're using the 2020 game plan. And of course, the world has changed since COVID has shut everything down and then reopened up shop and brought us back in for business. And so as that breakthrough strategist, my job is to sit with organizations, most importantly, their leadership team, and give them the skill set that they need that's going to help them grow and go to the next level. I love the analogy of GPS and your way to success, because I think that in order for these organizations to be who they're designed to be, they got to be clear about what address goes inside that GPS, meaning what is our forward look on our future when it comes to the staff, the employees, and most importantly, our financial or our fiscal year. What does that look like, right? And so my job will be continuing to do that and help organizations break through and figure out exactly what it is they need that's going to take them to the next level. Now, I said this is a two-part question because obviously I'm a speaker, and I believe that a seed reproduces after its own kind. That means whatever it is you designed to do, your job is to reproduce that in other people. So as a speaker in the GPS Speakers Academy, we're going to continue to kick out some of the biggest and the brightest individuals on this planet that have a game-changing story and message tied in with their expertise that's going to take them all around the world and become that life-giving change the world needs to get us exactly where we're supposed to be at. So that's two of the reasons why folks hire me. I'm one of the best there is at what I do. We have a proven track record on social media, on the YouTube channel, and we'll continue to add to that game plan again and again and again each and every day. What have I enjoyed most about the making of an entrepreneur? Several things. Number one, I love the fact of the efficiency of Shay Brown's team. I've known Shay Brown for several years at this point in time. I watched his growth in the industry. Shay Brown is by far one of the most creative individuals I've been blessed to work with again and again and again. So he comes highly recommended. He's documented. He knows his way around the industry. He knows how to make you, most importantly, look like the superstar and the rock star that I know you are. So the first thing is that. Number two, I'll say the efficiency of his team. Everything was laid out. So many emails were on point that I said, I thought these emails must be on an autoresponder because I kept getting them again and again and again, right? So everything was laid out. I felt 100% comfortable throughout the whole process. We do business with people we know, we like, and we trust. And I felt totally, completely in a zone of trust the whole time we were here, from the time I touched down until the moment I take everything off and take off. I'm still going to feel trusted and appreciated by coming here. And then last but not least, I believe the most important thing in the world that we have is our stories. And there's a moment in time when we leave this mortal planet that our stories leave with us, unless we find a way to capture these stories right here on camera to be able to share them with the world. I know a lot of people want to go for immortality. The most immortal thing you can do is leave your most powerful lessons with the world behind you as you go to the next place of your permanent destination. So I love the fact that this right here has given folks the ability to understand entrepreneurship from the lens of so many different people from so many different walks of life. There's so many different lessons, so many different values, and more importantly, so many different takeaways that's going to transform you and take you to the next level. It's been an honor, a privilege, and a pleasure, and I highly recommend this opportunity.
Thank you so much for watching the Making of an Entrepreneur DocuSeries. I just want to take a moment to talk to you. That's right, you that's watching right now. You the mom, or maybe you're the dad, or maybe you're an entrepreneur, or perhaps you're an auntie or uncle, but you're someone out there that has a heart to give, you have a heart to serve, and as you're watching this Making of an Entrepreneur DocuSeries, you may be thinking to yourself, wait a minute, I've had some life lessons, I've had some setbacks, I've had some experiences, I've gone through some things that have helped me become a better person, and I want to take that and I want to release that to other folks. Okay. Maybe you're a speaker and you're already doing it. Maybe you've written books and you've already done that. Or maybe the story that's inside of you, the expertise that's inside of you, the message inside of you, this is the right platform for you to make a bigger difference and a bigger impact in the world. Now, this whole Making of an Entrepreneur DocuSeries, if you had to sum it up in just one word, and it's kind of hard to do that, but as I'm talking to you and you're listening right now, you might be saying, Shay, what's the one word? And the one word I would say is just legacy. Legacy. There's a legacy I understand that you want to leave for your family, and I get that. But there's also a legacy of your knowledge. There's a legacy of your expertise. And think about this. You're able to share your message or share your story or share your expertise. And long after you're gone, they still have a window into the soul of who you are and the impact that leaves behind. If that's you and you someone that's want to get the information, you're someone that's ready to do something bigger than just your business and bigger than just making more money, but you want to have more meaning in the world, do me a favor. Go over to www.themakingofanontrepreneurDocuSeries.com. I know that's a long email, a long address, but I want you to hear it again one more time. TheMakingOfAnEntrepreneur.com. Now, when you get there, just put your first name and your last name and your phone number and information in there. Worst case scenario, you have a meeting with the team and decide, hey, me being a cast member, this isn't a good fit, but I had a lot of fun. Best case scenario, you decide to take a step. Folks understand your backstory, understand what you've been through, and the world is much better off while you're here. And when the day comes and you decide to transition and move on, it's still doing very, very well. So with that being said, I just want to pop in. Thanks a lot for watching the Making of an Entrepreneur series. My name is Shay Brown. I want to encourage you to continue to watch, and I'll see you at the next episode. God bless.